Welcome,
Hey, brother.
welcome.
Good to see you. All right, let me get my image.
Right, nice to see you. Yeah. Nice to see you.
Oh, it's good to be seen.
So
Good to see
survival
you.
is more important than truth.
Right,
Yeah, fantastic.
exactly. And every
Well,
time I teach that, everybody understands.
right,
Survival is
right,
more important than truth.
right. And really, we welcome you to our channel. Welcome you to our
Oh, I
channel.
love it.
Yeah. So fantastic. We would like to know something more about you. So if we hear from you, that will be more clear. We'll be having more information rather than me telling you.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Please. Yeah, in fact, we are here. We are very much honored. We are lucky to be here with Eli Tom. I just don't know what to call him, alien, a god, or a human. It's really quite confusing me. Because very few persons are there, rare persons like you, Eli Tom, in this world. So definitely we would like to hear your introduction, and we would like to know what exactly is the breatharianism, the practices that you're going on with.
All
So
right.
over to you, Eli Tom.
All right. Thank you for inviting me. It's so good to see you again. And life is beautiful. That's one thing we can say. And that's what this journey is all about. It's a life journey. Now, we use the word breatharian, but there's other words we could have used, like living on prana, living on chi, living on ki, living on ka, Oregon, life force energy. All these words are basically talking about the same thing. It's an energy that's in the atmosphere. And to take the myth out of it, just to give you a fact, the sun itself that all of us know that rises above us every single day, it brings enough energy to the earth just in 1 minute that could fuel all the industries on earth in 1 year. And that is a fact. So we're living in this great power, and the average person just don't realize it. It's in the atmosphere, it's in the air all around us, because energy is the foundation of all life, and the whole earth is being fueled by our local star. Our local star is doing so much. So when you deal with breatharianism, it is to eat very little or none at all. Very little or none at all. It's now it's the very little part that catches people off guard for some reason, and I don't know why, because we're in an age now where we got the most updates ever in medical benefits on fasting, especially intermittent fasting. It's all around the planet now, everywhere I go. There's many people going into that culture. And in ancient times, there was a saying that says, he who eat less live longer. So this is one good wake-up call as humanity is putting those quotes with the modern day health industry, because all of us kind of know that most illnesses and sicknesses on the body is food related. High blood pressure, liver ailments, strokes, diabetes. So the breatharian knowledge will tell you step by step on how to reduce your food intake. However, when we say very little, it will be on something that we deemed it could not happen once before. That's what we mean. You could go every 3 days, once a week, once a month, when you feel like it. You could go for years, depending on where your level of understanding at and how good you are cultivated. Because we're not saying put tape on your mouth. The foundation of breatharianism is meditation. Meditation is a very powerful tool, and there's many different types of meditation, whether it's visualization, chanting, Tai Chi and movement, the different forms of yoga, you know, to loosen up the body through the asanas. And then after that, you should go into meditation because the body's loosened up. So there's so many different ways you could do this, because what all meditations got in common, they all required a human being to be relaxed and in a comfortable position, because the body is a good conductor of energy. A conductive material is any material that the electrons that's in the atmosphere coming from the earth, all in the atmosphere, the air we breathe, can flow through smoothly with no restrictions. And the body is one of them. It's a good conductor, just like the different metals like copper, steel. It's when we look at the different things of nature, like the trees and wood and stuff like that, those are good conductors of the life force energy. Now, the average person is, will be bringing this knowledge. Breatharian is a science. It's not mythicism, and it don't have nothing to do with your belief system. You're getting educated on physics, because the human body is in physics. You're learning about thermal energy. We're learning about electromagnetism, because we have an electromagnetic field coming off of our body. And it's always fluctuating and changing. And it's your responsibility to take care of your electrical field, not the government, not the health industry. It's yours. We all have access to it. It's based on your lifestyle, based on your thought process, based on your emotions, is always changing the field, either bigger or smaller. So the breatharian knowledge is a lifestyle. It's not no destination, because people got that in their mind. If I only do this for X amount of days, I'm going to be a breatharian. That's not what it is. Every day, you are making a decision on how you want to live. Every day, you are grabbing more control of your thoughts, because your thoughts play a major role in your reality. Oh man, this is good. And all of this that I'm saying isn't nothing new. We're in the age now of information, and there's so much information on the internet helping people of some type of self-empowerment, how to work with your emotions, how to work with your thinking to stop thinking negative. And those are just rules of physics, because if you are a positive person, you're not going to live a negative life. Listen at this. That's just the rules of physics again, because even our thoughts is electrical. They can be measured. They're just like radio waves. So when you bring that breatharian knowledge, and we use that word self-realization or self-empowerment, it really means it. You are looking at yourself, your actions, your behavior at a deeper level than any time in life before. And this message is spreading. I've worked with many, many people, and they're so grateful that they had a chance to think differently, look at themselves differently. And we're in a great paradigm, because people don't understand, even when you deal with science and technology, by the time it comes to the mainstream or public, a lot of stuff is already late. We got to get this. It's sort of like when I was in the military, I had a top secret clearance. I saw the internet back in '88. It didn't hit the masses till '93. And even when I saw it, I was late. You understand? So it comes in levels and degrees, and some people are just more ahead than others. So I like how you get that introduction. Yeah, I'm just like a person who's living this, more so than the average person, but I'm even later on the knowledge. It is here and available for everybody, depending on what level and degree you're at, because it's a holistic health message. You're being nourished in your relationships, your livelihood. All of this is either bringing more energy to the body or taking energy from you. So you're learning how to look at your whole life on how to harmonize these energies, balance them out, strengthen your health, and now we're really going to get good. We're in an age too where we got a lot more information on longevity. So the breatharian message not only talks about longevity, it also talks about physical immortality. And there's many different levels and degrees in that. But right now, we're in an age that there's somebody living right now who's going to live a ridiculous age. This is where we're at.
Yeah.
Who's going to live a ridiculous age? You ain't seen nothing yet. Because right now we got the most centurions than ever before on the planet, and this is just great. And I was just looking at a documentary yesterday where there was a lot of people who lived over 100 telling about their lives. And one thing they had in common, that they weren't complaining about their life. They lived good lives. So the breath theory of knowledge helps you, first of all, be more grateful if you're not already are. Really love to live, because if you don't like to live, you don't want to extend your life anyway. Most people are basically, we think suicide is just something you do right away. But there's also a slow suicide, a person who don't care about their energy, not responsible for it. So the breath theory of knowledge helps you to be more responsible for your energy flow. And when you do that, some of the changes you'll see on the body, because that's one of the questions you gave me too, is since it's a health message, you will get more healthy, because most illness and diseases on the planet is energetic related. We just look at the manifestation of how it manifests. So that means that there's a lack of energy flowing through that part of the body, because energy is our foundation. And we're just not making this up, because we're also in an age where energy medicine has been here since ancient times. And that's what we call it now, is making a great rebound. They even got a thing where I just seen Germany's new medicine. And it's awesome. I like it, but they named it Germany's new medicine, but it's not new at all.
Yeah.
You're just proving a lot of things that was already there. And everybody's just trying to show face on the mistakes they made, because everybody was on a biochemical level, even people who spent years in school, 12 years, and I appreciate the breakthroughs we made, on a biochemical level. There's truth to that. But to go back to but you're doing a great mistake when people are not educated on the energy of things. In ancient times, they just call the spirit of things. So we're going back to the basics, and that's where the breath theory of knowledge is going straight forward to the basics. Because when you straighten out the energy has power over the physical. Now, when we look at the physical, don't be intimidated by that. That's just, everything is energy, like Einstein said. However, there's some energies that are more dense than others. Listen at this. Things that are more dense, we call it physical matter. But just because it's physical like that, don't mean it's stagnated, it cannot change. Now, getting into our body, we learned the basics when we was in school. This is just molecules and atoms put together. So you are making physical changes. Like, for instance, one that we all know about is if a person gains weight or lose weight. You got the power to do that. This is one young lady, she's on a good journey right now. And it's amazing what she did to her body. One picture she got, she was obese, the gut hanging and all this other stuff. Then she lost all of this weight because she made diet changes, started exercising, leaving alone the heavier foods. Then you see this petite little thing walking around. So that was a good transformation. But then she decided to become a bodybuilder. She decided to go lift weights. So now it's a whole nother body. She got the V shape. She got the muscles all over the body. She's having a time of her life transforming her body. And we can do that. We got the power to do that. So first of all, the breath theory journey, it's not fasting, but it's similar to. You understand? Because you are going without food. But fasting is temporary for the physical body. That's why meditation is the foundation, because all meditations also deals with subtle forces of energy. Now, going back to the air, there's an energy in the air that you're breathing. So this even goes beyond oxygen. We're not talking about that, even though we live in the bottom of gases. You breathe more nitrogen than oxygen, but nobody's saying what nitrogen does for you. You understand? You also breathe water everywhere you've been. So there's a lot, even what we learned about the physical body, we haven't reached our pinnacle that's law. Science is always changing. Science is always updating itself. That's why we got so many diet changes on the planet. And especially now, they're kind of giving you a hint. We got the most better medical benefits for not eating. So the breath theory of knowledge is going straight there where it's research. When it first came out, it used to be explained in people really couldn't grasp it, but people did the best they could on trying to describe it. The people that came before us. But now we're here where we got a lot more information and we're describing it a whole lot better, bringing it down to earth, just like I'm doing right now. This is down to earth talk. So even being a skeptic, that don't even exist really, because the finger is going to point back to yourself. Where are you at? Because everybody's dealing with health. And the day I was with a group where we was doing our qigong out in the sun, and I looked up at the sun as it was rising. Look at that great thermal nuclear free energy right in our face. The rays started touching all of our skin. We all felt it. And we even learned that when the photons from the sun reacts with our skin. That's one of the catalysts that produces vitamin D. If you don't know anything else, that's photosynthesis right there. That didn't require no food. All that required you was to make contact with the sun. This is awesome, ain't it? And your body made something that you needed that is healthy for you. It didn't ask your permission, it did it by its nature. Then we got the serotonin coming off our pineal gland. Again, that was taking place, going all through your bloodstream, putting out this hormone. And then when the nightfall comes and this shift happens in the atmosphere that everybody lives in, your body's going to start doing another hormone called melatonin. Just by me saying those three things, that is very, very powerful. What the body just did, just by you being alive. So the breatharian knowledge gets you sensitive to these things. And then, of course, we learned about grounding and earthing and making a connection to the earth. Yes, there's a frequency coming from the earth. This is something, and it's affecting the physical body. So the breatharian knowledge is making you so aware of all these things, and you are actually doing it. Now, even though a lot of people like already heard this, now I got to say something here. I run into people who knew about meditation, knew about yoga and stuff like this. But one thing they do say, thank you, Ellie Tom, because you show me the deeper levels of it. Yes, you knew about the mudras, but you never felt that connection before. And it really stayed there. You can heal your hands, self through your hands. The power is in your hands. You got so many energy connections going to the organs, going through the brain, connecting you with the cosmos, running through the body. And if you really know what you're doing with each mudra, each hand position, you can manipulate the body to heal itself. And not only that, the power is in your hands, it's your hands just putting things in your mouth. We got to look at this. Your hands is doing this. So this is a disciplined lifestyle. It's staying in there. It's not trying to run into it. I'm working with a group right now here in India. This is the longest group I ever worked with, hands-on like this. It's about the third month. People have learned so much. Everybody's transforming. You hear me? And when you work with the light, you're going to have positive effects. Now, of course, just like anything in life, you're going to go through your trials, your pains, because your body's healing itself. Things are going to start acting up. The body's going to start acting totally different. There's times you even will feel hungry, even though you're not hungry. It's like, where did this come from? Because you're going to go through so much because you're doing something you never did before. You're bringing energy directly into the body at a massive pace. And we got to be honest with it. When you never did that before, it's going to feel weird. Now listen to this, it's going to feel weird. So you got to get used to that new energy. So it's not about beating up on yourself like you failed. There's no failure. You just have to open up, give yourself time, grow into it. And before you know it, you'll look back and say, wow, I came a long way. I was just online yesterday and a woman been following my message for a whole year, really working on herself. Not only she shifted, I noticed the shift just looking at her. But there's an energy shift where she's holding a lot more energy. She feels stronger. She could go longer periods without food. She's not beating up on herself. She's really loving the journey. So again, spiritual ancient practices, they last for thousands of years for a reason. If they wasn't about nothing, they wouldn't last this long. So now we're in an age where we got a lot more information. We can prove with the equipment we got now that these things work. Like for instance, I was talking about the new mudras. There's scientific stuff on that. And you do have electricity going through your body. Let me repeat. You got enough electricity, everybody, at any given time to light a 100-watt light bulb. Let's get into this. It's just that everybody's glowing, but our eyes only see a certain frequency range. So the average person just don't see it. But we got equipment that can show it now. So once you start noticing this, the breatharian knowledge is bringing you into a more scientific thinking mind. And what that is a mind that thinks more closely, more critical, because you're working with these forces, you're working with your energy, and it's a good feeling to really transform yourself. And we got the basics of exercise in there. You understand, when you're exercising, you're working directly with the light, directly with the physical body. And we might as well go ahead and admit it. And religion and spirituality that we've known just now, it did not pay no attention to the physical body. It looked at it as being ugly, gross. It looked at it as being not a part of godliness. It was just a spirit people wanted. But no, the breatharian knowledge is saying, no way. This is a holistic lifestyle. And the definition for holistic is mind, body, spirit connection. They're one, and they always been one. So your belief don't mean nothing over science.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good, ain't it?
Awesome. Right. Very true, very true. Shifting of energy and balancing of energy. It's
Right.
fantastic explanation. And one thing more I wanted to know, is there any change of a body between a normal person and the body of a breatharian person?
Oh,
Any
absolutely.
changes in the body? Yeah.
I was just talking to a young woman today who was always real thin, right? Now, she knew about the yoga system and everything, but all my message did was just upgrade her game. So she's been learning a whole lot. But this is the question she said. Her body is bulking up in a good way because she's always been thin. And when she do eat something, it seemed differently than before. She said before it seemed like her body got rid of it really, really fast, but it seemed like for some reason it's holding. What's happening? Well, she's putting a whole lot more subtle energy in her body for channeling the energy. So the body's looking at it differently. You know, it's thinning and harmonizing stuff, but one thing it does do, now this is where it gets good. When you're channeling more energy through your body, first it affects the fluid flow, the liquid flow. Your blood start flowing and your fluids of your body is given a chance to really go all around the body. So just by doing that, that's going to make you feel differently, start transforming the body differently. You're going to feel healthier, you're going to know it. Next is start going into the muscle, especially if you got exercise combined and all this other stuff. So she's toning up the whole body, looking totally different. So that's another big influx of energy that's coming on the body. So she got that. But like we said, her food intake changed like never before. She ain't know what it was. But I said, that's okay on how she's feeling. The last but not least, the energy that you're dealing with start going into your bone. Now your bone is the physical foundation that keeps your skeleton up. And this is good because your bone is not just solid. It actually changes because it's made of molecules also. You actually get a new bone every 7 to 9 years, it's making a changeover. So this is awesome. So a practitioner in the study of energy cultivation, they start getting a stronger bone density. The energy start getting compacted in the bone. And when that happens, the energy stays there. You just don't get it and lose it. You know, like you know, 1 minute you'll have energy and the next minute you'll feel exhausted because you lost energy. This bone, when it gets into the bone, it stays there no matter what. That's why the more you age, the stronger your energy becomes. See, the breatharian knowledge is totally different than the last memo. The more you age, because you've been here a lot longer, you live in radiation. You're radiating energy out from you, and you're also receiving that radiation. So all of this is going into the bone. So the physical changes and the benefits you start making, you start noticing your strength over a period of time. You start sleeping less because the healthier the body, the less sleep you need. You still start, like I said, feeling stronger. You start looking different. Your eyes start glowing more, keeping that glow. Your skin start glowing more. All of this stuff start taking place because you're nourishing the body now with something that we called invisible because you just can't see it. But this subtle forces that's in our body, we do have an energetic anatomy. Just like we got our bone anatomy, you got an energetic. So that means it has a pathway that it flows through. All energy runs a circuit. So you got all these circuits going through your body. And I believe in Indian philosophy, they used to say what? Call it the nadis, sort of like super highways of information. And when you deal with the neurosciences now, they're talking about that big time. Your neurotransmitters actually activating this information all throughout the body, like a super highway of information, but they're electrical. And they're working on a biochemical level, but it's causing the same electricity that powers up your cell phone. And there's even do-it-yourself kits where you could charge up your cell phone with your body. So we're at a good age. This is about information again. And when you get this information, don't be afraid to, see, you got to study and you really got to learn. And there's two forms of study. There's the study where you get it from other people, information from teachers, you read, you understand, and then there's information when you start working with yourself. See, the best way to learn is to actually do it. And study, basically in a nutshell, it just means repetition. Anything you learned in life, whether it's music, whether it's learning on working on wood, working on a car, you learned it through repetition. You just didn't get it overnight. Over and over again, and the more effort you put in, the better you became. Yeah. So you study, and learning just means you learned it because whatever you just learned, it actually put new neural pathways going through the brain. And if the brain actually changed from how it used to look before till now, just by you learning something through repetition, you just made a transformation. Now, information is locked in you. Now, there's a word that they use or a saying in neuroscience that says cells that work together, fire together.
Yeah.
So you kept doing it over repetition, they transformed themselves, they came together, made new energy pathways. So you are a different person every time you learn something new. So the breatharian knowledge really puts you in the study of life, really puts you in the study of your physical body. Your emotions is your physical body, your mental thinking is your physical body. You're not being spooky no more. You're coming back into the physical body, loving it. And your physical body is connected with the atmosphere. To the big self-realization, I might as well say it, that the spirit of our body is God consciousness. That's the unified consciousness where you know, no matter how you feel, because like I said, your belief ain't got nothing to do with science. You are connected with everything. You always have been and you always will be. Yeah. Oh man, this is good, ain't it?
Right. And the presently, what the world, what we are observing now, the food addiction, the diet systems and all, and a lot of consequences, a lot of diseases we are seeing right now. It has become very difficult, and probably what's going to be the future of mankind if we practice the breatharianism. Yeah.
Oh, you got a bright future. That's the thing about it. You have a bright future working with the breatharian knowledge. See, nature always balances itself out. You got to keep in mind there's a reason why the breatharian knowledge is here and why it's growing. It came about due to the negativity and how it reached its height. See, the world just don't stay negative and that's all it is. It always balances itself out. So when things go this way, there's something to balance it out going this way. You understand? So that's why the knowledge is here and is growing. People are really grabbing. We learned you are what you eat. We got that memo. Now we learn that you are what you think. See how this is growing? And more people is catching that memo, really doing something about it. So on a positive note, even though we had this negativity with the health industry dealing, which is a pandemic, on things that could have been prevented because it was, ignorance, you didn't have to catch high blood pressure. And if you got it, you can reverse it. You don't have to stay obese, you understand? You don't have to live a sedentary lifestyle. You can take it the other way. So it balances itself out. So the breatharian knowledge is here. We got more longevity. We got more people that's healthy. We got more videos than ever showing people in their 70s and above doing amazing things, looking good. You understand? on many different levels. That's what we need to look at. So the breatharian knowledge, you have a bright future, bright world. That's what is here. And somebody said something real key today. The energy in our atmosphere, our Earth's atmosphere, is totally different than it was 100 years ago. It's totally different than it was 500 years ago. So there was a time just dealing with sound, which is light. The biggest sound a person heard once upon a time was probably the lightning. Listen at that.
Yeah.
Their whole life, that probably was the biggest sound they heard. Now we're living in a matrix where we hear sounds big all the time. It's light coming through the body and all this other stuff. Then we got all of these frequencies and radiation coming through the atmosphere, like your radio. Your radio stations is going through you right now since you were born. You had an ancestor not too long ago who had no radio waves coming through the body. I ain't even named the internet, the cell phones, this and that, you know, the 4G, the 5G. I ain't even named that. The different nuclear testing we had on the planet, dealing with nuclear bombs. Even though you say, I've never been in a nuclear disaster. Yes, it affected you. We got Chernobyl in us right now. The nuclear disaster that happened in Japan, you ain't had to be there. It's in the atmosphere, it's connected. So that raised the whole energy levels of the atmosphere. So the breatharian knowledge, we say, how is our future? Our future is really bright. And this is forcing everybody, because we're all light beings, to change themselves. You get sicker now on a heavier diet quicker than what you did, you know, in the past. Because of that, it's too heavy on the body. Everybody feels it. So again, this isn't a message trying to convince you. This is a call that it gives you the opportunity to do something about it.
Oh, that's really fantastic, fantastic. In fact, we already have plenty of time we have taken from you. At last, only one thing I wanted to know. Since how long you have been on this journey without food and water, and a little bit more we wanted to know about you on this breatharian journey. Just don't
Oh,
mind.
wonderful. I've been on this journey 20 plus years, 20 plus years. Wow. And then when you're dealing with the journey of no food or water, now keep in mind, it didn't have to be like some people, you've been living without food or water for 20 years. Didn't say that. There was time periods you enjoy yourself. You want to try something new. There was a time I raised a family. It is healthy to sit down and eat with your family. So I break things down to earth to people. But it's amazing when you can back up from the table, you can go very long periods of time. You could do 30 days like it's nothing, standing on your head. You could do 6 months like it's nothing. And that's amazing. You could do a year like it's nothing. And I did over 2 years one time, well, a couple of times, you know, in my journey. That's nothing. But like I said, I've been on this journey, and once you learn it, it's a skill. It's a skill that you can actually pick up. And you'll start appreciating this skill because you know how to pick something up or detach from it. So on my journey, when I learned it, you do grow in stages also, you know, because it's dealing with mind control. So in my beginning years, when I first started out, it wasn't hard getting the body into that state. The body is a good servant when you really start training it. You understand? But we do live in a society, and I was just talking to some people this morning. You see how I get all these questions. Yeah, I get all these questions because this is some real stuff. One man was there and I was glad to see him, but he also got this busy schedule, you know, really taking care of his family, this and that. But what I'm trying to teach the people is it's about the energy cultivation, you know, staying with the energy at least. Putting that type of meditation as an essential part of your lifestyle, no matter what you're going through. Everybody's on different levels. So even me, myself, I went through different stages. Like when I had a family, that was one stage. So I decided to eat every other weekend, and that was good. And plus I was working this busy job and stuff like that. But as time increased in my family, because change is going to take place. One thing that everybody can agree on, change will take place. So my child got older. Me and my spouse, we got into different things to where, you know, they don't really demand too much from you as you be in a relationship that long. So it gives you more time to work on yourself. You might as well say it. So that gave me a chance to go to another level. You understand? Well, I could let up on a job. My child is grown. We could take care of himself. You understand? I ain't got to go and get shoes for him. I don't even wear shoes now. So that just freed me up. So now that take you to another level because you could change your life. And minimalism, for some reason, you don't have to force that. That comes along with it because you'll find out that our minds create our reality. And the more things you connect it to, the more it puts your mind into that thing. The more you start disconnected from things, it gives you back more of your energy. So on my journey, where I'm at now, being all alone, I can cultivate myself all throughout the day and all this other stuff. It is great. Right now, I boldly talk physical immortality because I know I'm going to live a long time. Now, this is good.
Wow.
You know it. It's your own self-realization. This isn't no, well, you never know about. You got a good energy. I got a grip on my body. Everything's open. It feels good. I'm so proud of it. You understand on what you came through, what you're doing. So you don't want to go backwards. And yes, food freedom is a byproduct of health. You don't force food freedom. It's a byproduct when you start appreciating, being grateful for what your body can do. My body is amazing me. I never dreamed that it'll be able to do this. But all it's doing is listen to the master. That's what it's doing. So you learn how, over a period of time, learning how to sit in these energies. See, in yoga, they got a thing called the 3 gunas. You got the tamas, the rajas, and the sattva.
Yeah.
And the sattva is when you start harmonizing these energies in the body. You start sitting in there longer periods of time. This is what the breatharian knowledge is about. So I've been on the journey for such a long time that I enjoy being in sattva. I enjoy, and how you know it is, they'll say, let's take your nostrils, for instance. At any given time, you're breathing more out of one nostril than another naturally. And throughout the day, it even change because you're connected with the atmosphere.
Yeah.
But they'll say in the gunas, one represents the tamas, the other one represents the rajas. You're in one state of consciousness all the time. It doesn't matter. You're going to be in one of them. But when you're getting into your practices, both nostrils start opening up freely. And you feel that state. Everything's harmonized. You enjoy it. However, to stay there, you know, in that state, even though it feels good, you're not be ready for it. And it's not bad going back to rajas or tamas. Sometimes you'll go back just to enjoy the memory. You understand? So that's just as healthy. We're not saying it's bad being in those states. You understand? However, you start appreciating and enjoying a sattva state more. Because that is a state where you can't feel a body. Everything's opened up. So it started growing bigger and bigger, so you enjoy the sattva. So when I say I got 20 plus years in this, I put in some time. I put in some effort. So to deal with somebody who got time and effort and the skill, they kind of know what they're doing, kind of know what they're talking about. So I can stay in this state very long periods of time. This is good, ain't it?
Yeah.
And I enjoy
This
it
is
and I
golden
appreciate
age.
it. Full
This
of
is
energy.
golden age. Yeah.
This is the golden age.
This is golden age. Survival.
Right.
It's all about survival.
All
So now
about
you
survival.
don't. Yeah. So now you don't feel hungry or thirsty at all.
Oh no, see, and this is good. Even there was a reason why that feeling came about. This is a science. Why is you hungry? Why is you thirsty? And what is a craving? See, a craving don't mean you're hungry or thirsty. You're just craving something. See, the brain, through its habits, it just gives you a suggestion because energy loves to move. That's what that is. Now, there is what you call a body hunger. And the body hunger is just, how should we say? There's enough nutrients is not getting to the brain. And if the brain is not getting what it needs, because you always got blood circulating from your body, from your head to your toe. I got to say this because some people don't know this. The more I teach, the more I find out people really don't know. You got to explain it to them. So you got this blood circulation. Your brain is an organ that uses the most energy in the body. People got to hear this. So now you want to figure out on how to really keep your blood flow going, really get your blood flow more healthier. Now, there is a thing called oxygenating your blood, you know, breathing clean air, doing breath work, really getting that flow pumped up, breaking up energy channels. Even when you exercise, you feel like you get more energy. The body can flow a lot better. So when the brain gets a bigger influx of blood flow coming up there, you